House Bill 1359 would establish a statewide payment assistance program for qualifying low-income and critical care residential customers to receive assistance with paying their electric bills. After deregulation of the Texas electricity retail market in 1999, Texas created the System Benefit Fund to assist certain low-income consumers with paying for their electric bills. The System Benefit Fund provided low-income customers with opportunities to save on their electric utility bills. It provided meaningful savings for consumers and a way to help them when they fell behind on their bills. Unfortunately, the System Benefit Fund ended and consumers stopped receiving assistance in 2016. As many of you remember, the System Benefit Fund was championed by our former colleague, the late Congressman Sylvester Turner, whose life we celebrated last week. As a representative, chairman, speaker pro tem, mayor, and congressman, Sylvester Turner spoke loudly for the consumer and worked his entire life to help Texans, promoting fairness throughout the state. House Bill 1359 seeks to reestablish an assistance program for low-income and critical care residential customers in the spirit of the System Benefit Fund. There's a committee substitute that's been presented, and we are also still working on additional language. But some things that we'd like to address were, first, it will fund this program by an appropriation to the PUC rather than a fee charged on the consumer electric bills. And second, it will focus more directly on bill payment assistance for low-income customers for those times when consumers fall behind on their bills. I'd also like to clarify that it will cover ERCOT and non-ERCOT areas, and we also intend to work on the language to make sure that everyone's included, including the electric co-ops and the munis. House Bill 1359 would establish the framework needed to create an assistance fund to assist qualifying low-income individuals and critical care residential customers with paying for their home energy expenses. Be happy to answer any questions and reserve the right to close.
Thank you. Members, are questions?
Seeing
None?
Chairman.
Oh, you have one. Sorry. Go ahead, Richard.
So thank you for bringing this forth, and you know, it's really true. I mean, so many of us supported this. You know, a lot of us were here and supported it. But it's really true that that Congressman, well then Representative Turner, took it to another level of focus, fight. You know, I mean, it was something else. And so, you don't have to comment on it. This is one of those moments where we really should consider naming this after him. You know, the Sylvester Turner Act. I don't know, something to think about. It just really struck me because I just remember, I mean, I can remember, you know, all those years, nobody. And I mean, again, many of us supported it, but he just really brought so much focus to it and helped so many people and was trying to help so many more. The money was there and we weren't using it the way we were supposed to. We collected it and we weren't giving it and using it, and that was wrong, and he brought attention to that, which I appreciated very much. So for your consideration down the line. Thank you.
Thank you. Members, are there further questions? No? All right. Chair calls Cyrus Reed. We have you registered as Cyrus Reed, representing Lone Star Chapter of the Sierra Club, and you are for the bill. Is that correct?
Very much so. And apologies for my confusing day today in several committees where I got things right. But this one I'm right on. This one, we support it. I'm here to testify. And I do want to recognize, you know, last week's memorial service. And a lot of us who've either been serving or been lobbying for a long time saw how much Congressman and Mayor and Representative Sylvester Turner cared about this issue. And the reason he cared about this issue is because we have a lot of Texans who struggle with paying their bill. And they struggle for a variety of reasons. One of those reasons is, whatever you want to call it, we have a lot of extremes in our weather. We've seen it with Winter Storm Uri. We've seen it with our very hot summers. And we've seen Texans unable to afford their bills, which isn't good for our market, isn't good for the retail electric providers. So we appreciate the bill and also what it sounds like the committee substitute of being a little broader. Sylvester Turner pointed out this problem where we would collect that money from the non-bypassable fee on electric bills, and then for a variety of reasons, we wouldn't appropriate it. I think with the committee sub, your intention is just to have simply the state make the decision how much money we will put into this account. And for that, and we think that's probably a good approach given our history in the past. The one issue I would point out that we would like you to consider addressing in a committee sub is the original system benefit fund included, low-income discount program, a program for emergencies and disconnects, consumer education, and it did include a small pot of money for weatherization. And the idea is where it made sense to have the state have that fund work with TDHCA, which receives some federal money for weatherization programs. So the idea is, yes, let's help people in emergencies, but let's also help people more permanently lower their energy costs by weatherizing their homes or apartments. And given that the present administration is unlikely to put as much money as the previous administration did in programs like LIHEAP and WEP, it might make sense to have a small part of this fund be available for those kind of programs, whether it's in Houston or Dallas or throughout the state. And with that, happy to answer any questions, but very much support the bill, and thank you for bringing it forward.
Thank you for your testimony. Members, there are questions for Mr. Reed? Seeing none, thank you for
Thank
being
you.
here. Chair calls Taylor Kilroy. We show you as Taylor Kilroy, representing Texas Public Power Association, and you are neutral on the bill. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Please proceed.
Thank you, Chairman King, Vice Chair Hernandez, members and staff. My name is Taylor Kilroy, Executive Director of the Texas Public Power Association, today testifying on House Bill 1359. As y'all know, TPPA represents 72 municipally owned electric utilities and other publicly owned power systems across the state. We provide power to over 5 million tax-paying Texans. Every day we work to make sure we're maximizing both reliability and affordability for our customers, and we appreciate all this committee is doing to make sure we're making progress on both of those fronts. Unfortunately, like Vice Chair Hernandez already mentioned, we were caught up in a minor drafting error in the committee sub, which would render almost all of our customers ineligible for the program. We've had a lot of conversations with your office as well as other stakeholders, and we're happy to hear that there may be another committee sub that might render us eligible, and so we thank you for that. We thank you for all you're doing on this front. Thank you, and happy to answer any questions.
Members, there are questions for this witness? Seeing none, thank you for being here. Chair calls Julia Harvey. We show you as Julia Harvey, representing Texas Electric Cooperatives, and you are neutral on the bill.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Please
Good
proceed.
afternoon. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, Madam Vice Chair, members. I'm Julia Harvey on behalf of Texas Electric Cooperatives, and I'm testifying on HB 1359. So co-ops serve all but one persistent poverty county in the state, and we support initiatives to assist low-income consumers pay their electric bills, and so we are deeply appreciative of your efforts, Vice Chair Hernandez, to provide this type of relief. As Mr. Kilroy said, we've been in discussions with your office just to ensure co-ops are eligible for the program. I think that was the intention, and so thank you to you and your staff for working with us and for your consideration. Thank you.
Thank you for being here. Members, there are questions for Julia? Seeing none, thank you for being here. Chair calls Mark Bell to testify briefly. That's the only one I can pronounce. Yeah, he did do that.
I've been practicing all week on how to spell my name.
So we show you as Mark B. or Bell, representing the Association of Electric Companies of Texas, and you're for the bill.
That is correct.
Please proceed.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Chairman and members of the committee. For the record, my name is Mark Bell on behalf of AECT, the Association of Electric Companies of Texas, testifying in support of House Bill 1359. You know, as an industry, we are united in the common purpose of providing a reliable and affordable supply of electricity. House Bill 1359 does that. It provides meaningful support to low-income and critical care customers who are having trouble paying their electric bills. As Vice Chair Hernandez explained, this legislation brings back the intent and purpose of the System Benefit Fund, which was created in 1999 as part of Senate Bill 7, which created the competitive electric market we have today. That fund was abolished in 2013, not because it wasn't needed, but because the funds were often used to certify the budget and weren't used for the intended purpose. It's no secret that Texas summers are hot, and the same holds true for Texas winters. In each case, these higher bills can create a significant strain on household finances, and this is especially true in when a household faces other challenges, and oftentimes consumers just fall behind. Many of our retail electric providers already have very robust bill assistance programs, and the Consumer Benefit Fund would augment those efforts and help expand the reach of those programs. And for those reps that are not able to provide assistance, it would help establish assistance for their eligible customers. Vice Chair Hernandez, thank you for your work on the committee substitute. We support the language to fund the effort through an appropriation and apply it statewide so that consumers both inside and outside of ERCOT are eligible. Thank you.
Thank you for your testimony. Members, questions of Mr. Bell? Seeing none, thank you. Chair calls Christina Rollins. Ms. Rollins, we show you as Christina Rollins, representing NRG and for the bill. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Please proceed.
Thank you, Chairman King, Vice Chair Hernandez, and members of the committee. I'm Christina Rollins. I'm the Assistant General Counsel of Regulatory Affairs for NRG and testifying in support of House Bill 1359. NRG is the parent company of retail electric providers, power generation companies in ERCOT, as well as the parent of a premier smart home company. On the retail electric side, some of our reps are Reliant, Green Mountain, and Direct Energy, which have been around since day one of the competitive market. Although the System Benefit Fund ended in 2016, the need for electric bill payment assistance continued. That need will only increase as work to make the electric grid more reliable and resilient forges on, because consumers will ultimately bear the costs of those improvements. Even though our reps have their own bill payment assistance programs, this bill will enable us to broaden our reach to help more hardworking Texans who fall upon hard times. We believe this bill provides a framework for successful implementation by building on the resources the PUC already maintains and providing certainty to reps and their eligible customers. With respect to building on resources, the System Benefit Fund may no longer exist, but the PUC's low-income matching service does, which some reps like ours continue to use to provide voluntary assistance. Also, the PUC's rules set forth criteria and a process to designate critical care residential customers to ensure they receive appropriate protections. So there are mechanisms in place already to identify the two groups of customers eligible for assistance under this bill, low income and critical care. On certainty, the bill as filed provided that the PUC shall set the amount of the discount as a fixed amount, which it would periodically revise. This will help reps know whether the assistance they request for their eligible customers can be fulfilled. That information will be most helpful when it's expressed either as a cents per kilowatt hour or a flat amount per eligible customer per year, like 5 cents per kilowatt hour or up to $500 per year, for example. For these reasons, we support HB 1359, which will enable us to help Texans together, and we look forward to continuing to work with Vice Chair Hernandez on this bill and are happy to answer any questions.
Thank you for your testimony. Members, are there questions? Seeing none, thank you for being here. Chair calls Veronique Plack. Did I say that right? Close? Okay.
Veronique Plackey.
It's what?
Veronique Plackey.
Veronique Plackey.
Yes.
Okay, so we show you as Veronique Plackey. You are here on behalf of Texas Energy Poverty Research Institute, and you are for the bill.
Correct.
Thank you. Please proceed.
Hello, my name is Veronique Plackey. I'm here on behalf of the Texas Energy Poverty Research Institute. We're a statewide nonprofit that advances energy solutions for Texans with low incomes. Thank you to the committee for the opportunity to speak in support of HB 1359. There is a critical need for energy bill assistance in Texas. The federal low-income home energy assistance program, LIHEAP, serves only 4.5% of eligible households, just 120,000 families out of 2.6 million who qualify. This leaves a vast majority of low-income Texans without essential energy relief. TEPRI's 2023 Community Voices in Energy Survey, which gathered responses from over 6,500 low-income Texans, provides insights into the tough decisions families have to make to keep their lights on. Half of respondents reported struggling to pay electric bills most months. 57% of respondents reported cutting back on necessities to afford electricity. And alarmingly, this includes 29% of households who reduced food expenses to cover energy costs. And 31% of households statewide reported adjusting their thermostats to uncomfortable levels or turning off their air conditioning completely during the summer, risking their health in extreme weather. Disconnections further strain these families. 1 in 4 respondents received a shutoff notice, and those earning $50,000 or less accounted for 76% of disconnections. And once disconnected, families face high fees to reconnect, deepening financial hardship. Energy assistance programs exist, but they aren't reaching those who need them most. 90% of eligible respondents reported never receiving aid, and the biggest barrier wasn't income limits. It was simply a lack of awareness. 40% of respondents had never heard of these programs despite qualifying. This is why HB 1359 is so important. The education and assistance will make a real difference in these families' lives before they're faced into crisis. Thank you for your time.
Thank you for your testimony. Members, other questions for the witness? Seeing none, thank you for being here. Chair calls Shane Johnson. We show you as Shane Johnson representing Sierra Club Lone Star Chapter, and you are for the bill. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Please proceed.
Thank you for your time. Shane Johnson, as you said, also representing Sierra Club. I'm a community organizer, so other colleagues and I work more directly with community members, work to support their needs and get people involved in the legislative process and political work. Of course, many people are struggling all over the state right now. They're struggling with cost of living, cost of groceries, all sorts of different bills have gone up. They're struggling with the impacts of extreme weather and then that impact on their electric bill. And a lot of people do everything they can to reduce the energy they're using, but they can't do any more, and they still can't afford their bills. Particularly with the unseasonably warm weather right now, the extreme cold we've gone through. It seems like we need a mortgage to pay for eggs, right, in grocery stores, and people are struggling. And so this is, such an important context, and it's long overdue that we have a program like this. In particular, I want to read a couple of statements from some residents in South Texas who couldn't make it up here today. The first person she says, "Hello, my name is Nadia Morales, and I live in San Benito, Texas, and I'm a TXU."
Oh, excuse me.
Huh?
We cannot testify on behalf of anybody. You
Oh,
have to
okay.
testify just for you.
Okay, understood, yeah.
Thank you.
I'll say then, there's people, with $500 electric bills all over the state. Mine isn't that expensive, but it's nearly doubled in the last few years. That's exactly why we need a program like this as soon as possible. It's not just public utilities, the municipal utilities. I've heard some maybe hearsay that it's just more expensive in a public utility, but it's all over the state. It's in the competitive market that people need this support and are struggling with the rising cost of energy from congestion, from the cost of the Winter Storm Uri that people are still paying in their bills, to just supply chain issues. I'll end my testimony there. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Johnson. Remember, there are questions for the witness. Seeing none, thank you for being here. Chair calls Kenneth Flippin. Your fans are dedicated. We show you as Kenneth Flippin, here on behalf of Texas Chapter U.S. Green Building Council and yourself, and you are for the bill.
Yes, sir.
Please proceed.
All right. Thank you, Chairman. Thank you, Vice Chair Hernandez, for this bill. The U.S. Green Building Council chapter had its advocacy day yesterday, and this was one of the bills that we talked to many of y'all about when we did office visits. This is an important bill because we have lost our program that was so helpful in the past. 34% of Texans, according to a survey taken last month, have a problem paying their electric bills. We know, as previously testified, a quarter of Texans at one point or another have had their electricity cut off. During COVID, a lot of people may remember, lots of people were having problems seeking assistance. I remember in Taylor, there was one place you could get assistance. You could go there Thursday at 1 o'clock and get assistance, and there was a big line during COVID for that assistance. By having this program, we can fill in a lot of the gaps that exist in a lot of communities when it comes to this kind of assistance. When cutoffs do happen, they happen to people sometimes in front of things like Winter Storm Uri. When they don't have power and their homes are highly inefficient because they haven't had weatherization programs, those homes are vulnerable to survivability. They can only survive in a home for a few hours versus a few days. That's why we do strongly recommend this program and this bill be passed, but we also think a strong weatherization program could be very helpful in making sure that we're spending that money in the wisest way possible. The money that we could save through weatherization programs would help those low-income folks pay their bills over the long term versus just trying to help them in an immediate situation pay their bills so they don't get cut off. For all those reasons, we support the bill, and we'll continue to work with the author to make it as strong as we can. Thank you.
Thank you for your testimony. Members, are questions for this witness? Seeing none, thank you for being here. Is there anyone else wish to testify on, for, or against House Bill 1359? Seeing none, Chair recognizes Vice Chair Hernandez to close on her bill.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you to all the witnesses that have come today to testify. We will continue working with all the stakeholders and bring you another substitute with language that is inclusive of everyone. With that, I close.
Thank you. Oh, Mr. Darby.
Anna, do you realize that it was my bill that ended the System Benefit Fund? Okay.
I wasn't going to say that.
But, you know, with all fairness, our
negotiated
beloved
with
friend
Turner, yes.
Sylvester was frustrated as I was frustrated. John Otto was frustrated about using dedicated funds to certify the budget and not appropriate what was brought in for the purposes for which it was brought in. And so we decided to end the fund and appropriate every dime going to low-income folks for support of their electric bills. I applaud your effort for doing this. Want to make sure that we don't get down that road. If we collect the money, we want to make sure it goes to the people that it's intended to go forward. So thank you for bringing the bill, but again, we're reflecting on our friend Sylvester, and this is one of the highlights of my legislative career, standing at the front mic with my arms around Sylvester and talking about ending this passion of his. So with his permission, thank you.
Thank you. Members, further questions?
I close.
All right. The committee substitute is withdrawn, and if there's no objection, House Bill 1359 will be left pending. Is there objection? Chair hears none. House Bill 1359 is left pending. Chair lays out H.R. 51 and recognizes Representative Raymond to